Hello there, fellow fans of alliterations, because today I've got some Romanian Razvan replays right here. 3 replays, same guy, epic gameplay. We start off in the Tier 9 AMX30, which is pretty much one of the very few Tier 9 premiums or collectors that is actually worth obtaining. It's not like a T55A where getting it essentially gives you no point, no gain. But here, the AMX30 is very interesting and also nice to play vehicle. Obviously, it is nowhere near the level of an Object 752, of course not, but it is very interesting vehicle nonetheless. Now, playing the hill is obviously mandatory on Castilla. If you go up here, that's kind of as a medium tank where you want to be. However, already disadvantage right here. One of the biggest problems that Blitz still faces is the imbalance in light and medium tanks. 2 on this side, 3 on the other. That is not a fair match. And I think Wargaming should definitely work on changing that. It only took them 10 years to fix the crews, to make them not pay to win. I think it shouldn't take them another 10 years to fix the matchmaking in the regard where you actually have an equal amount of light and medium tanks on both sides. Now, this Murat here, I have no idea what he's doing. He's just, I guess, gifting away free hit points because the Batchat now finishes him off as well. And T100 LT is now hunting the Batchat. And very well spotted here that the Batchat does need some help because the Batchat is now reloading. The other medium tank isn't really in a hurry to get over here, which means this is going to be a 1v2. Obviously, the T100 is focusing on the reloading Batchat. A little bit of off priority here. And I have no idea why he would push forward like that without waiting for the T42. And now we're going to turn away here. Perfectly done. Look at that perfect timing. Just turn away at the right time. And now the T41 goes again for the Batchat. And probably, if he has the right aim, is going to be able to finish him off as well. And he doesn't do that just yet. Now, he gets himself stuck and he can't aim at Razvan. That is very impressively bad right here. And again, what are they doing? You do not push into multiple tanks at the same time. You want to be the one making use of the advantage and not pushing yourself into a disadvantage. Romans learned at Cannae that even if you push hard, you can still get outsmarted, and you should learn that too. If you rush into the enemies, they can circle you and you will be defeated quite easily. So always be aware of where all the enemies are and not just one. Pay attention to all of your surroundings and also your teammates to find out whether they're actually any useful or whether they're pleasuring themselves in spawn, like one of the tank destroyers is doing it right here. So in this case, there are 2 enemy tank destroyers and an M4, M5 Yo right here. So yeah, gotta be careful. You don't want to peek into that. Oh Jesus, that was a little bit of a over peek right there. What I would have done is a drive much closer to the hill there, because if you do that, then any tank that's up there will have a very tough time aiming down at you, so you're going to drive a lot closer to that hill. Whatever that M5 Yo is doing, it's not working out for him. And the grill has been rammed to death, and now this Yo, he's probably still intoxicated from whatever he was taking last night. So, in this case, easy finish off right here, but pretty aggressive move here by Razvan. It wouldn't have paid off if the enemy wouldn't have been this bad, but it paid off in the end anyway. Just look at that lovely destruction there. 4,600 damage already. Very nicely done. And now the only thing that remains is a Jagdpanzer E100 that got himself stuck behind a house. 5k damage. And the E4 has spontaneously combusted because he probably touched himself a little bit too much. Now, the next game, we stay with a medium tank, but this time we upgrade to tier 10 with the excellent KPZ-50T. 3.6k DPM, 320 alpha damage, very good dispersion, 8 degrees of gun depression, good enough mobility, and useful turret armor as well. It kind of makes something like an Object 907 a little bit obsolete, because this is basically an E50M and a Leopard 1 smashed together with a little bit less alpha damage. So it does work very well, and the Project Louis has decided he wants to be a mountain goat, and he is getting punished hard for it. Don't do that. I mean, there is this thing called hit point spotting, which basically means you poke out and you get yourself shot, and then you know what alpha damage shot you, and then you know what tank is hiding in the back because of the alpha damage that you got shot with. For example, if you get 440, it's probably a 1-to-1 and not a KPZ-50T. for example. But it's not the greatest of tactic. It should only be used if you're full HP and also only once in a game. And only if you really need to know what is hiding somewhere in the back that you simply can't spot. And now, here's the bat shot. This is also a little bit of a risky move here, trying to re-peek the T-54, because you never know where that 183 is gonna be. Obviously, if he's in the usual tank destroyer hill at the back, he can't fire in here. But if he's hiding somewhere in the spawn location, then he has a pretty good angle to fire into this area right here. Especially with that 62A somewhat spotting the area, it could be quite dangerous to stay up here. If he's near the rail line, this could get quite bad. T-4 is running away, and you want to chase that? Well, not really. What do you want to do in a battle like this? You want to find the enemy's biggest weakness. What is the worst tank on the enemy team? Or what is the lowest hit point tank? Or what is the tank that is the easiest to attack or in the worst position that is completely undefended? And in this case, the 62A is pretty much undefended, and there is also help here in the form of the Project Louis. I mean, well, that's some hit point spotting right there with the 183, because that was a big-ass HE round. And now the 62A is in a 1v2 situation. The 62A is fully aware that the KBZ-50T can be up here, and the Project Louis as well. However, he decided to just YOLO the Louis because, you know, consequences don't exist in his world, probably. And, yeah, that doesn't work out quite well. And, well, the heavies have entirely collapsed, which now means this T-54 has to die very quickly. The Louis screws himself. However, Razvan is able to finish off the T-4, and now it is a 3 versus 2 right here. And what do I say every time when there is a replay like this, where it's a 1vx situation or a 2 versus 3? Get yourself the space to breathe and don't fight multiple tanks at the same time. And that is exactly what is happening here. Now, this bush is quite a risky move as well, because if you get spotted up here, that 183 has an angle, and 754 is definitely enough. Oh, that's a very lucky bounce there, and also getting down the hill very quickly before the 183 can ever strike. Now, the VK90 has to be taken out here. However, with the help of a WT, can also work out quite well. And now this is a bit of a problem, because the VZ55 is on one side and the VK90 on the other, and here strikes the 183. It's a pretty bad situation right here, but the VZ55 screws his shot, and now he thinks he can side scrape, but because of Soviet build, a lot of these vehicles have an angled plate right next to the front plate that you can pen relatively easily. And now, exactly, you want to get unspotted right here. Use the bush to your advantage. Obviously now, 50 meters, proximity spotted again, so there is no way of avoiding getting spot, and using the track here to bait. Unfortunately though, the repair kit wasn't quite ready, so the move was not perfect. But now, put the shot in and now get away. The VK90 has a massive disadvantage because you have to peek with the engine first. Again, know the advantages and disadvantages, because normally you would get out of there if it's an E100 or an i7, because the turret's relatively forward. But the VK90, the turret's at the back. So when you let the VK90 peek into you, he's not going to peek with a gun first. He's going to peek with a part of the tank that you can shoot at first. So very well thought out, excellent move there. And now the only thing that remains is the 183. And at 281 hit points, the HE splash into the turret is more than enough to finish Razvan off. And that is not very lovely. Would not be a nice end to the game here. Not a lot of damage here, but a lot of tactical play already. Because remember, the highest amounts of damage are cool, but sometimes you just want to play interestingly and not just maximize damage. Right? Sometimes an interesting battle is better than a high damage battle. The 183 plus his shot completely. The only thing he has to do here is be patient. The 183 has to have patience, right? One shot, that is all that he needs. But he doesn't do that. He just drives away straight for some reason. He doesn't even pay attention, and now he turns around, but he decides, nope, I'm actually not going to get out of the line of fire. I'm going to stay right there in the line of fire of the KBZ-50T. What the hell is he doing? And obviously perfectly using the high DPM of the KBZ-50T to the advantage here. And now, did you see that? He saw where the 183 was looking, and instead of approaching directly, he's now going to take the longer approach around. So you always want to use your tank's advantages against the disadvantages of the enemy tank. KBZ's advantages, high DPM, and very good mobility. The 183's advantages, big boom. And you do not want the big boom to happen and get spotted here. That's very unfortunate. And the 183 could try to shoot through the train. And in this case, there is really no option to get out, because if you go left or right of the train, you're still gonna get a shot there. Now the 183 goes forward. He tries to push. Probably the smartest thing he can do now, but he gets shot, and now both are one-shots right here. And who has the advantage here? Well, obviously it's the KPZ. The KPZ can get unspotted easier, and it can peek faster. So the 183 basically has to guess which side of the train is gonna be the approach. Now, again, baiting out to the side, and now gonna try to shoot under the train car, and with perfect precision. Just look at that. Absolutely wonderful there. And once again, a perfect display that matters where you play and how you play. Kolobanov's not even an ace, but lovely nonetheless. And now we go to a Cobra, which is still a medium tank for some reason. But it is a tier 9. We're going down again. Not a lot of DPM, not a lot of anything really. I mean, the armor's not really good, the mobility's not good, the accuracy's not good, the DPM's not good, nothing's good about this vehicle. It has 10 degrees of gun depression though, which is very nice. But this is a purely meme tank, basically. It doesn't even have proper standard rounds. It does have HESH and HE, or so, well, heat and HE rather. Well, heat and HESH, whatever. But it is not a really good vehicle. It's like a meme. Not like the mouse tank, which is even more of a meme. Some people say that the mouse tank is a tier 9 annihilator. And if you ever think to yourself that you're not okay, just remember that the people exist that think the mouse tank is in any way comparable to the annihilator. Just remember that. You'll feel better instantly. So, in this case, already 3 teammates, once again, dead. But the return comes in immediately. The enemy has cleared out the city, and Razvan's team is clearing out the field right here. Now, here you can essentially expose yourself to the enemy spawn, because the enemy tank destroyer is spotted right here. The 3 heavies location is known. There is no threat from the enemy base, so driving out here carelessly might seem carelessly, but it could be perfectly calculated, because you just know that you can't get shot from a location where there is no tanks. Makes sense, right? So always keep an eye on the greater battle and keep the mini-map in mind as well. Wonderfully played right here. Look at that. Now, what do you want to do here? Obviously, the cap shouldn't go on for too much longer, because if you have to decap at like 80, 90, that gets really ugly. Now the Skoda, he doesn't consider the Cobra repositioning, and he gets reset. Now what does he do? Does he continue to cap, or is he going to push forward? The Borsig has thrown himself away completely, and that is the dumbest move that Borsig could have possibly made. That is push forward. He does that, of course, because again, what you want to do in this situation is get yourself some space and use that space widely. The maps are pretty big. You don't want to all sit in the same tiny little corner, because sure, brawling is fun, and if you're in a close range situation with a lot of turret armor, you obviously want to face hug the enemy, but in this case, distance acts as extra armor, because the enemy, the majority of enemies, they're just going to try and blatantly rush towards you. Like, they're not going to think whatsoever. They don't think about playing the game, they just play the game. So if you use that distance, they're going to mindlessly rush towards you, and you will have 1 or 2 shots basically for free while they're on the move, which means they're going to be less accurate, and they have lower camo rating than if they were stationary. So they're easy to spot, and they have a harder time hitting you. So them driving towards you is a perfect opportunity for you to shoot at them, given you don't have an insanely inaccurate gun like a T-49 that isn't able to hit the lower plate, of course. But that is a massive advantage that you can hold for yourself to get some distance between you and the enemy, especially in a medium or a light tank. So, again, one more shot into the KPZ-70, who's now stuck between a Golem and this one right here. I don't know if you can be stuck between a Golem and the Cobra, but let's just assume that you can. Put it down in the comments if that's a fan fiction worth creating. And now, he's finished off. Age-old story. Don't let the enemy surround you, and don't ever fight multiple tanks at the same time. Only ever fight one tank that's straight in front of you. If you have tanks on your side or behind you, you probably should go backwards. So, unless the guy's backwards, then you gotta forward. But, yeah. look at the minimap. Play with some wisdom. Start to think about what you're doing. Because if you do that, if you do everything you've just seen, and I've just said, you have essentially no chance of ever being under 50% win rate ever again. If you simply do everything I talked about in this video. And of course, thank you very much for sending in the replays. If you want to send me your replays, put them on my Discord server, link in the description. And see you in the next one. Goodbye.